everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today is the long-awaited day of Heather's finally going to fucking do the horror story video that she's been promising for like a month and a half.
Boo!
That's my friend Ashley, who's letting me very generously letting me borrow her camera because she also got me this really pretty bracelet from Ireland. Oh fuck.
It's from the Emerald Islands.
Yeah, the Emerald Islands.
Ow.
Okay, so basically I had shot this video and it was all fine, but when I finally went to upload it to so it basically, the footage, half of the footage was lost and I could not regain it because, like an idiot, I deleted it off my phone when I thought it was completed uploading, but to Google and my computer and stuff, and only half of it got transferred. So I have to do it all by myself, all over again. So, but I try to make it good. And then when I tried to do it by myself the other time, it was really boring. So I'm doing it again.
I'm eating chips.
Yes, she is. All right. So I'm just gonna jump right in here and try and make this as enjoyable as possible. I've always wanted to do this video.
Hey, wait. Tell them the name of my channel.
Okay, my friend Ashley here because she's letting me borrow her camera and stuff, and we're doing some collabs together. Go follow her at, what is it? Actually
Not actually Ashley.
Not actually Ashley. I can't say actually.
Not actually Ashley. I did it on purpose.
I'll put it somewhere. So yeah, so I'm gonna jump right into this, try and make it. I love watching these videos myself, so I hope you guys enjoy this. So my first one is going to start off pretty mild and get quite, then it's just gonna go downhill. So this one, it was actually a con Ashley was out with me. It was Wizard World Chicago 2015. I had just started cosplaying. This was my first time ever cosplaying. I believe this was Saturday. So Ashley and our other friend were going to take a picture with the Captain America shield, which was really, really cool because it had all of the signatures from the cast on it, so that was awesome. And to be able to take a picture with that is pretty nuts. Yes, Chris Evans, and Chris Hemsworth touched it because he signed it too. So anyway, so that's really cool, and it was like probably like $10 for a photo op, but whatever, it's a con, you overspend no matter what you do. So, they're up taking a photo. I had no money left, so I could not take a photo, unfortunately. So I was kind of standing off to the side, trying not to get in the way of anything, because there's traffic everywhere. Because if you've ever been to a con, especially a con in the Donnelly Stevens Convention Center, you know, there's traffic everywhere, especially Wizard World, because it's like kind of like Comic-Con. So, basically, this guy comes up to me. He looks like the Mad Hatter. He's got like this giant hat on, but he's wearing like all black under it. Like,
He was weird.
Yeah, he was weird, and it was just kind of like very bland costume. But he had the hat. And it was like this huge hat. So he comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, your costume is like super cool. Could I get a picture?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Why not?" You know, that's what I'm here. I'd been asked for pictures a lot that day, and it was really flattering. So of course I'm gonna say yes. So this guy, he takes the picture, and after he takes this photo, like he had put his hand around my waist, which I'm already kind of uncomfortable with, or was uncomfortable with at the time, because it's my first time cosplaying. I already don't like it when people touch me like that. So I was like, what are you doing? But I kind of went with it, because I'm like, this is just a selfie, it's fine, don't worry about it. So he takes the photo, and after he takes the photo, he just kind of goes, "Thanks," and like grabs my butt. And he like gropes my butt and my face like, "What the fuck?" And he looks at me for a second and then he just walks away. Like nothing happens. And that was the first like horror thing that ever happened to me at a con. And being my first con, I was a little freaked out afterwards. But, I mean, when I think about it now, it's not as much of a big deal. I probably just would have smacked him, but, you know. Next story is going to be from Con Alt Elite 2016. So this is a con, once again, in the Chicago area that takes place in the Hyatt. So it's smaller, it's actually growing, so they're probably going to have to expand it soon. Not the point. So this is this previous year, so we were helping our friend Ash get recruited, or get ready for a panel she was recruited for. Because she's usually my Marco from Attack on Titan, but she was recruited for Levi for whatever reason, so I gave her like my cloak and my coat because she didn't have the Survey Corps stuff, she just had like the recruit or the cadet stuff. So we're getting into the elevator to go down, we're on the 6th floor, and I'm dressed as Judar. And if you don't know who Judar is, he's this character from Magi, and his outfit consists of like, you know, like a gold like choker, some bracelets on his arm, and then he's wearing like a tank top that shows off, so like this costume shows off like, so like pretty much most of my torso.
It's hard.
And so already this is like my most showy cosplay. Like I dress for my costumes, most of my costumes are very conservative, like in the terms of modest, I guess is the word for it. So they don't show a lot. Like I'm usually dressed in suits or something that covers like just my body. So this was like a big step for me, and to debut it at a con like this is kind of a big deal too, and it's a little scary first time, but it was already night and I had been wearing him for most of the day without incident. So I was like, bless, you know, the day is almost over and it's gone without incident. Well, that jinxed me a lot. So anyway, so we get in the elevator, we're on the 6th floor, we go down 1 floor, and the doors open and let in 2 people. And a girl enters first, and she's dressed as Saren from Mystic Messenger, and then a man after her. And so before she even comes in the elevator, she looks at me and she goes, "Oh, Judar." So that kind of like dabbed, because when people were like recognizing me, I was like dabbing. Just, I don't know, I think I was tired and I was just like,
Basic white bitch.
thanks, Ashley.
Are you appreciating my commentary?
Sure.
I hate you.
But so yeah, she recognizes me and I just kind of like acknowledge that she recognized me. And we kind of all got in the elevator, but the weird thing is she starts getting closer to me, and closer and closer, and we're in an elevator, so it's me, Ash, and Sora in this elevator of my friends. And Sora's looking out the window, Ash I think is carrying on a conversation with someone, and this girl is like, "Oh, I'm so glad to be stuck in an elevator with you, Judar." And at this point, I'm like, that's nice. I want to leave. But I'm trying to keep up my like douchey persona like he has. And she gets even closer and starts like, this makes me cringe like to this day. Like she starts running her hands over my stomach. And yeah, I know. That's what I was doing. And I'm like kind of frozen at this point. Like I'm so out of character. I'm broken. And you know, my friends unfortunately weren't seeing this go down, because when I told them, they had no idea this happened. I was just like, oh Jesus. And she's like whispering stuff to me. I can't even remember half of the stuff she was whispering to me because I think I just repressed it. But oh my god. So finally, the elevator comes down to the ground floor after what feels like 8 years of being in this elevator and being touched, because I was frozen and tired and I had like these contacts in, so my eyes were starting to hurt. So I didn't retaliate at all, which is so out of character for me. And so the elevator comes down to the ground. I grab Ash by the cape and I just go, "We're going, go." And I start pushing her out of this elevator. And she's like, whoa, you know, what the hell? And once I get past her, I like look back because I'm like, are they following us out or what's going on? And she's like waving, and she just goes, "Oh, that's such a shame you have to leave, Judar. There were plenty of dirty things we could have done mid-air." And I'm like, nope, and I just book it. I'm gone. And I was like, this is terrible. Don't do this to people. This is so bad. Like, I don't touch people in general if they don't want to be touched. Like, this next thing, I'm kind of going out of order now, but just kind of stick with me. Now we're going to UchiCon, which was the first con of the year. It is a con put on by the University of Chicago, every year, and it's a one-day thing, but it's still a pretty chill thing. So me and my bro Chelsea went dressed as Zen and Seven from Mystic Messenger, and we were so surprised that, you know, we were getting people coming up to us and like asking us for photos and stuff, which was really, really cool. We were talking to a lot of people, a lot more interaction, which is a nice thing about smaller cons. So you get to talk to more people for longer, and you see people more often, which could be a good and a bad thing, I guess. But anyway, so we were standing in this one spot for a while because there were people that kept coming up to us asking to talk with us and take pictures. And there's this girl that comes up, and she starts kind of like talking to us, asks us for a photo, but then she turns to me and looks at me, because Zen has that long ponytail that comes around the side. She asks if she can touch my wig, and before I can even answer, she has it in her hand and she's stroking it, and she sniffs it, and then starts to rub it on her face. And she's in cosplay too, so in my head I'm kind of like, oh dear, oh no, I hope she sealed her makeup, A. And B, I'm just like, oh, this makes me uncomfortable because I didn't even say she could touch my wig. And it just the way she was doing it was really odd, and just like, it almost sounded like she was like purring, like no joke. It was really weird.
Furry.
And so, yeah, no, that was, and I told Chelsea about it. She's like, yeah, no, that like when I was talking to her about it, she's like, no, that was weird. So that one's a little shorter. It goes back to Con Alt Delete 2016. This was a very eventful con because because you're all basically in the same space. We're like at Anime Central. A lot of people start walking around outside and stuff, so a lot of stuff happens outside instead of inside. But for CAD, you're mainly inside. We were coming back up from Ash's panel, so this is the same night. So I'm still at Judar, and I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm like, all right, brushing off what had happened earlier, and I'm just like, all right, we're good. Didn't happen, kind of thing. I just want to go back to our friend's room and just chill out and drink Dr. Pepper until I can't fucking function anymore.
Until all the sadness.
Until all the sadness goes away. And so we're going back up, and we had made a comment getting in the elevator that it smelled like booze. Like, it legit smelled like someone poured all like liquor on the floor of the elevator, and they had kept the elevator closed until like the liquor had dried, and it smelled like just booze. And so we made a comment. I'm like, I'm getting drunk off the scent. Like shit. I was like,
that's not possible.
don't shut my fucking face. And I'm just like, it was kind of gross too after a while. Like, you get in and you're like, all right, that's fine. But like when you're trapped in an elevator going up floors and that's all you smell, you're kind of like, ooh, no, gross. So we're coming up and we finally reached the floor. So there's like 10 of us in this elevator because all our friends had eventually come down and started watching the panel. So we're getting out of this elevator, and I was the first one out. So I'm kind of standing over to the side, and just so that I'm not in the way, so that everybody can get out in the elevator if they need to. And there's this woman standing there with 2 other guys, I believe, but that's what I learned earlier, like later. And she comes up to me, and she gets like in my face, and she just goes, "You're beautiful, darling." And I swear to God, she had the accent and everything. Like, I'm not making that up. Like, she had an accent, and she was very drunk. Like, you could smell it coming off of her. And I'm like, I don't want a repeat of the elevator, so I'm like backing away. I'm like, all right, thanks, bye, you know, whatever, you know. And so everybody's kind of shuffling out of the elevator. She had like moved away from me and was going towards some of my other friends to kind of like do like almost the same thing. And like the 2 other guys were kind of like following her around. And so finally we start walking away. Like my friend's dad, Sora, as she was previously featured on my channel, her dad is a big guy and he's pretty intimidating. if you piss him off. And so he's kind of starting to herd us away from the elevator, trying to get us, just make sure we get to, because we weren't going back to the room that, like, because I was sharing a room with Sora and her dad and a couple other friends. So we weren't going back to that room, but he was just trying to make sure that we got to our friend's room okay and stuff like that. Because it was late at night. It's probably like 2 in the morning at this point. And this woman is following us. And Sora's dad turns out, because I'm towards the back with Chelsea, our friend, and we were kind of like, oh god, this lady is following us and she's freaking creepy. And then the 2 guys were also following her, so that makes it even more scary. And we're just like, oh no. So Sora's dad finally turns around and walks back, and we're all kind of like, what the hell do we do? And he goes, are you following us, ma'am? And she's like, what? And he goes, are you following us? And like this is stupid even for a drunk person when you've got this big guy who's obviously pissed off trying to protect because we're all girls. Like, trying to protect all these girls that are in costume and tired and shit. So he's obviously pissed that this woman is giving us trouble. She goes, yeah. She admitted it. Like, straight up. And Sora's dad goes, well, you can't do that, so you need to turn around and leave before, I report you, or whatever the hell he said. And she kind of looks him up and down, and she kind of realizes, like, I think she sobered up a little bit. She's like, I need to go. And so they finally turn around and leave the other direction. We're able to go to a room. And later, we ended up walking out of a room, and probably 5 or 6 doors down from the room, we saw them, like, laying, like, drunk. Like, the one girl was, like, laying down, surrounded by bottles, with the 2 guys next to her. And I think someone was telling us later that they were trying to, like, hook up with people. Yeah, or something like that. Like, I was hearing rumors like that, so I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I was hearing from
what
other
else do you do when you're drunk?
Yeah. The next thing is also from Con Fleet, but it's from Friday night, because Friday I was Vincent Phantom Hive, but then I later changed into Sebastian, and then changed into Pajama Sebastian for a panel I was in. And this was a later night panel. And what I was wearing was, I had my Sebastian stuff on, so like the contacts, the wig, all the makeup and stuff, but then I had a 60s style smoker robe. I might put a picture somewhere. And then my Vincent cravat, because I needed to make Sebastian look like a pimp for this panel. Yes. Like, he looked like he needed to have a martini glass in his hand.
I'm not proud of you.
No, she's not. No. But, so basically, after this panel, we were coming back to our room, or to our friend's room, because we were always hanging out in our one friend's room before we went back to our room. And this girl follows us. Now, I'm like, just a disclaimer, if you are watching this, I'm not trying to, like, throw too much shade. I'm not trying to be super salty, but I'm just saying what happened did make me uncomfortable, and I did ask for this person to stop, so I'm just gonna put that out there now.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we come back in the room, and there's 2 beds in our friend's room. A couple of my friends are laying on one bed, and then me, and I believe Cody and Miranda are on the other bed. And eventually this girl comes over and sits on the bed. Now, we thought originally that this girl was a friend of one of our friends that was hanging out with us in the room. So because she was at the panel, she was responding a lot. She had been talking to the one girl that we thought she was friends with for a little bit. So we thought that maybe they were friends or something. So we let her in the room. I mean, we didn't even know she was in the room at first, to be honest, but we figured she was...
This already sounds
This
bad.
is already bad, yeah. So she had been in the room, and we kind of realized, and we had that mentality where we thought that she was a friend of one of our friends. So she sits on the same bed that myself and a couple of my other friends are on, and I'm trying to take out actually these contacts that I was wearing at the time because I'd been wearing them for a really long time. I was really tired, and when you wear contacts when you're tired, it can actually damage your eyes or hurt them or irritate them. So I was trying to take them out. So I've got my little contact case, and I'm starting to put my fingers in my eye to take out my contacts. And this, I feel like a poke, like in a pretty hard poke in my shoulder that is like this, trying to get my contact out. And I'm like, what the fuck, you know? So I look, and this girl seeing it, she's got like this big grin on her face. I'm like, haha, very funny, you know, blah, blah, blah. So, and I thought maybe she didn't see me taking out my contacts, so I kind of like made it, like, I didn't want to say anything, because I'm like that kind of person that's like, you know, like, just, you know, maybe make it obvious that I'm trying to do something. So I had like my contact case in my hand, and I was kind of like, made it seen. And so then I go again to take out my contact. She pokes me again. I'm like, okay. I turn around and I say very politely, I'm like, could you please not poke me when I'm trying to take out my contacts? Because I could poke out my eye, I could like do something. I would find some way to hurt myself.
Shoot your eye out, dude.
Right? Yeah, so something would happen that would not be good for my vision, or something terrible would happen. So I asked her very nicely, I'm just trying to take my contacts out, so please don't, you know, poke my arm while I'm doing that, because I already have like kind of like shaky hands to begin with. So it already makes that difficult, but when someone's poking you and moving their hand, it's not good. So I finally get my contacts out of my eyes, and after that happens, she starts poking me again. And I'm gonna put out there that under this jacket, or this robe I had, I was only wearing my bind. So like I didn't have like a shirt on underneath because it was already late in the evening, and I'm like, I'm not gonna put a shirt under this robe. Like, I'm lazy because I'm probably just gonna come back to the hotel room after this panel and just kind of like, whatever. So she starts poking me, and the poking gets lower until it's in my sides. And I'm very uncomfortable with that. Like, Ashley knows this. I am super uncomfortable with people touching my sides like that. And this robe is only secured with like a tie. It's not like a zipper or buttons. It's like it's just a tie. And she starts poking me, and I'm like jerking, and I'm like kind of on the like bed, and I'm like curled up, and I'm like, this is not what I want today, please stop. I'm very uncomfortable. And like I'm jerking, I'm not laughing, I'm like terrified. Because the robe is starting to like come loose and start like falling off, so it's like starting to fall open so that my stomach is exposed. And she's starting to jab me. So she's making contact with my skin at this point, which is making me 10 times more uncomfortable.
Yeah, so much more comfortable.
So much more uncomfortable. And I'm like, I don't want this. Like, I'm telling her to stop audibly. I'm like, please stop. Like, don't touch me. Like, no, because I don't like when people I don't know touch me. Like, people I'm close to can have more physical contact with me than a stranger, obviously. And since I don't know this girl, I'm just like, what the fuck? So that's happening, and I'm audibly saying, stop it, I don't like this, please stop, don't touch me. Like, I'm starting to get more agitated and kind of more aggressive, like I'm trying to push her away from me. And so finally my friends are starting to notice because I'm like jerking and I'm kind of yelling now. And my friends are like, you need to stop touching her, she doesn't want to be touched. And I think it was Cody that actually yelled at her. I don't remember, but later she left, and I was like so happy when she left because she was not touching me anymore. But that was awesome. This is probably gonna be my last story. This is kind of gonna be a mosh of a mosh of different events, but it's pretty much one story. So at Anime Central 2016, which is almost exactly a year ago, it was late at night, and me and a couple of other friends that I was staying in a room with decided to leave the convention center and just kind of walk to the Hyatt, which is like across the street and down a little bit. And we didn't take the skywalk like normal people. I don't know why we didn't, but we just didn't. And I'm just gonna tell you right now, it was getting a little scary, that con, because we had seen so many people get wheeled out in ambulances for like alcohol poisoning or just, you know, stuff like that, which is already frightening on its own. So we could hear sirens, you could see a couple of ambulances come up. Like, I'm not saying this just like scare anyone away from Anime Central or the nightlife at Anime Central because it's super fun and it is usually very safe, but just like seeing it is kind of like, whoa, what's going on? So there's that. And then as we're walking down the sidewalk to, I don't remember if this was all on the same night. I'm just going over the nightlife as if it was just one combined event. We're walking down the sidewalk to the Hyatt, and there's a lot of people out at night because there's, you know, the hotels obviously have bars in them and stuff. So, and there's a rave going on at the Hyatt because the raves at ASIN are huge. And so there's people going to those and all those other kind of events and stuff like that. And I just remember we're walking down the sidewalk. I'm like the only one that remotely looks like a dude. Like I was dressed as Kuro, like I just had the wig and the makeup on from Haiku, and my friends were dressed as like females. And we start walking up on this like patch of mulch and like plants that are outside of a hotel by the sidewalk because, you know, that's what hotels have outside. And there's a guy like this, like he's just like this, like trying to like block
I'm the king
something.
of the world!
Like trying to block something in between the bushes, and we get closer and we see this woman on top of this other guy who she's like grinding on him. And the guy is like, I think he was like so drunk that he's just like spread out. And she's grinding on him in like her panties. Yeah, public indecency charge, right? And he's going, keep walking, nothing to see here. And he like almost got in my face about it because I like made the mistake of looking because my other friend kind of was like, all right, I shouldn't look. And then me and my other friend were like, oh God, what is going on? But no, that was kind of frightening because it's like, okay, we need to leave. And also, there were just a lot of drunk people like outside of the Hyatt, so it was kind of like just a mess of everything going down at once. Like I remember someone getting in a friend of mine's face. Because like he was very drunk and stuff and getting angry at her for whatever fucking reason. And that was quite frightening. Like that was probably the night by the Hyatt was really scary that time for some reason, just because I think there was so much drinking going on. And there was a lot of drugs going around too, like you could smell a lot of like pot. Yeah. And there was a lot of rumors of like ecstasy and stuff.
Dude,
going around the rave. But the other scary thing, this didn't happen to me, but this is just mentioning, but I think it was at ASIN that somebody was spreading word to all these like underage people that like cosplayed from Undertale, that there was like, they were trying to get all these like people that cosplayed Undertale. And Undertale's a game, and a lot of the fan base are pretty young. And there was a rumor going around that there was an orgy going on for Undertale cosplayers in this one hotel room, and people were getting really concerned and warning all of these younger, because apparently it was run by older people being run, and there were people going around warning. Like I remember someone coming up to us and being like, "Did you hear about the Undertale orgy?" And we're like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, there's a room in the Hyatt that's like trying to get people for this orgy." And I'm like, that is nasty. I can't believe I forgot about that, because in both recordings I did of this video, I totally forgot about that. But that was terrifying, and I wasn't even involved because I don't cosplay from Undertale. But I felt fear for like all the younger kids, because like their target audience, like a lot of the Undertale community that I've met that cosplay, not saying everyone and not trying to like insult anyone, but they are younger. Like a lot of them I met were like 13 or 14 at that time.
Girl,
so, like,
if you having orgies at that age, you need to see it.
No, yeah, but there were kids that were actually like considering it, which was scary. Like I would hear, like that was one of the big things of that con, and everyone was like shocked by it. It got shut down. Like nothing ended up happening from what I know, but I just remember that going around. That was quite scary. Anyway, guys, that was finally the convention horror stories. thing that I've been meaning to film forever, and the footage kept not working. And finally, it is done. It is recorded for you guys, and I really hope you guys enjoy it.
What if I told you that this whole time it wasn't recording?
I would kill you. But yeah, so anyway guys, I really hope you enjoyed. I really enjoyed making this video. I really like talking about the things that happen to me at cons. I think there's stuff to learn from them. Like, don't invite people you don't know into your hotel room. Like, ask your friends if they know them and stuff like that. But
Wear something under your robe.
Yeah, but like there's stuff to learn from it. They're kind of just enjoyable to hear, like, in a way, like other people's experiences. It's a way to kind of like talk to other people. I really like watching these videos myself. Like, I have a couple friends that were working on some of them, and hearing some of their stories I thought were interesting. Or sometimes you can look back on them and laugh. Sometimes you still cringe at them. But yeah, so those are pretty much all of mine for now, unless I remember more. I'm going to C2E2 next week, and I'll be going to ASIN literally in a month, which is super exciting. So maybe I'll have new stuff after that. I don't know. But anyway, this outro is getting way too long. But anyway, guys, I really hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. Share some of your stories with me through the comments, if you please. I really enjoy reading stuff like this and bonding over it. So please feel free to share. And give a subscribe to my friend Ashley thanks for letting me use her camera in her house and stuff. So yeah. I'll see you guys in the next one, and have fun.